안녕하세요, Nifties. Welcome to Knittery Nicole. I am Nicole, and we are a crafting community. So grab your work in progress, also known as a whip, and let's get started on our 10-minute crafting break. Today I am drinking Milky's, which is this a really, I think, delicious, but not everyone's deliciousness, but Korea's #1 cream soda. I think it's so delicious, and you typically get it from the Korean store, and I did get it from a Korean store, but a Korean American store. It is, it does have carbonation, but it's kind of a light carbonation. So that one's fun. And I'm working on my Annie's Craft Kit Crochet. Same square, number 27. I wanted to show you quickly my little setup here. This is my little travel bag. It was actually a bag from a pour over coffee filter metal thing, and it's collapsible, so they gave you a cute little bag, but it actually has a little section where you can put your needles. So I have a section for my needles here, or my hooks, and this pattern likes you to use 2 separate hooks, one for the border and then one that I'm using. So I have that there, and I also have my little counter here, which I have so fancily pinned here with a safety pin. But my little counter helps me keep track. I'm on row 11, so I have that here. And then I wanted to show you my yarn. My yarn is Kobu. I think it's a Lion brand. Yes, Lion brand. And I love this one because it's a mix of cotton and bamboo. So here it is. We're looking at a 51% cotton and 49% rayon from bamboo. I love this because it is machine washable and tumble dry, but also it's really nice because it's cool in the warmer months, because it does get a little bit warm where I live sometimes, but it's also warm. So it has both properties. I also have my little square 27, just to remember what I'm working on. And so that's where we're at. Let me see if I can get this to stand up. And then if I can, we can get to some knitting. Great. Here we are. So as I told you, I'm on vacation in Honolulu, and this is my first time in Honolulu, but my 4th time to Hawaii. And I love Hawaii, but this is a whole different kind of atmosphere that I'm used to. So just having, like, for instance, so many Korean places is so, oh, that was my stand. Let me try again. Okay, I think this one's gonna work. Just having so many Korean places is really fun. There's also a lot of Japanese places. So many, there are so many like Japanese tourists, and I guess they get these like packages. One of the Hawaiian guides told me that they get packages in Japan of like their airfare and their room or their hotel, and then also these shuttles, because I took something called the Waikiki Trolley yesterday, and then that shuttle, can't remember if this one goes, oh yes, it goes here. And they have a cute one, the Japanese people have a cute one that is double decker. And then I asked the man, like, hey, how do I get on that one? And he said, no, the only way to get on that one is to, sorry, I messed this one up. The only way to get on that one is to buy your ticket from Japan. Anyway, so I guess I didn't get on that one. We did take, yesterday we took the Waikiki trolley around. We took the blue line, and that kind of tells you it's 2 hours, and it drives you around Waikiki and Honolulu, and it tells you just about the history. They tell stories. They tell you a little bit about the language. It's kind of funny. The funny thing though is that the previous day I had been talking to a man, and he told me that he drives the red trolley. So I was talking to him about it, and he said what you should really do is ride all the way around on the trolley. Even though it's drop off and pick up, you should ride all the way around, and then the second time you ride around, because it's all day long, it's like a day pass, so then you can decide like where you want to get off and on. So I did that, but by the time we had heard the same stories twice, my son was over it, and he did not like the same, kind of dad jokes. So that is maybe something to think about. But I did think it was interesting, and I did like it. So I would definitely do it. Well, I might not do it again because I did hear the stories twice, but I definitely would encourage other people to do it if they were so inclined. Today, so yesterday we went around on the trolley, and we kind of got a history of Waikiki, which was nice. And then today we went to Pearl Harbor, and people say that if you come to Honolulu, you have to go to Pearl Harbor. And I agree that Pearl Harbor is something important. Oh, look, this is what happens. So I really like this yarn, but one thing that happens is that it kind of splits. And this happened with my little sweater too, because I didn't use this brand, as you know, because I used the Karen cakes. But I did use, I think that was also a combination of cotton and bamboo, because I really like the natural fibers. And so sometimes it splits. So then you have to undo it and kind of stretch it out to kind of like wind it back up or something. Anyway, as I was saying, I do think it's important to see Pearl Harbor, because it's an important lesson in the history of the United States, and also in the history of the world. An interesting fact that I had not known before was that part of the reason that Japan attacked Hawaii was because there was an oil embargo, and that Japan doesn't have enough oil as a natural resource, and they needed that, especially at the time, because we were having the Industrial Revolution kind of. There was a lot of production, manufacturing. And so they really needed the oil, but the U.S., because they were acting like not very nice people in the world, the U.S. had put like an oil embargo on them. And so they needed the natural resources, and they were also concerned about the U.S. like joining the war, because at that time the U.S. said that it wasn't going to join the war, and that was going to try to remain neutral, kind of like Switzerland, but that didn't happen. And then after the attack on Pearl Harbor, that's what brought the United States into the war. Anyway, I have so much to say about Pearl Harbor, but the first thought is I just can't believe that like all these years we've been fighting about oil. All of the issues, well, they say, of course, I don't know all of them, but so many of the issues in the Middle East, it have been about oil, and then all of, like, this seems to be about oil, and I think that it just reminds us that, we should try to develop more, other natural resources to compensate for, or to not compensate, but to add to our consumption of oil as a natural resource, so that we can produce things without that, because it seems very difficult. At any rate, back to Pearl Harbor. It's beautiful because it's there on Honolulu, right? But also you learn so much about, we went on tour, and you learn so much about the history and just how many kind of mistakes were made. And that's the reason that the damage was so extensive, and that's sad. And then when you go there, it's a very somber place. There's so many beautiful, happy things about Hawaii, right? You're in paradise, but that is definitely one of the sadder things that I saw here. In addition to the Pearl Harbor they have right there, the USS Arizona, which is one of the ships that sank, and it actually exploded. So part of it is still like there, and they built a memorial like on top of it. And part of it they used, for instance, they used the flagpole from the ship, which would have been very, very high. Even though it's down, it sank to the bottom of Pearl Harbor, it's now tall enough that it stands kind of probably about, I want to say maybe 6 feet to 8 feet high. No, probably taller than that, maybe 10. And then so it's like an appropriate flagpole height. Probably, like, I guess I'm not very good at heights, but it seems like a regular flagpole. So I don't know how tall regular flagpoles are. Maybe they're 20 feet. But at any rate, the way that the memorial was built, it seems like that's a regular flagpole height, but really it's the actual flagpole from the USS Arizona. In the memorial, they have a really pretty tree of life. So this is like a statue. I have a magnet collection, so I got this one. But this is called the Tree of Life, and they have one of these on Pearl Harbor, like the National Park Pearl Harbor, and then they also have one on the USS Arizona. If you walk into like the main memorial, they have a list of all of the names of the people that perished there, and then this is kind of on the side. So this is the magnet that I got. At any rate, thank you so much, Nifties, for spending a little bit of time with me today. I am just grateful to have a little bit of community, even when I travel, knowing that there are people who are willing to just have a little bit of community, little crafting time with me. I can take my crafting companions with me as I go. And I'm hoping that you also feel that you have a little bit of companionship, a little bit of community here. I hope that you've had a little bit more peace with us today. And if you have, please like and share our video. Also, please head to our threads so that you can see how far I get. I usually post my finished work there, and also, however far I got. I would love to see what you are working on. So if you can, go ahead and post that as well. And I will see you tomorrow. 안녕.